Michael Schumacher won 5 straight world championships, dominated Formula One so completely that the FIA changed the rules just to stop him, and it will never happen again. Not because drivers today aren't good enough, but because Formula One won't let it. Max Verstappen has the talent. Lewis Hamilton proved he could dominate for 7 years. Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris. The grid is stacked with generational talent, but none of them will ever do what Schumacher did from 2000 to 2004. 5 consecutive titles, 72 wins with one team, total domination. Because the system that allowed Schumacher to build a dynasty is dead, and Formula One made absolutely certain it's never coming back. Let's talk about what made Schumacher's era possible. It wasn't just talent, it was structure. Ferrari in the early 2000s had unlimited budget, no cost cap, no spending restriction. If they needed a better wind tunnel, they built one. If they needed more engineers, they hired them. If development required another $50 million, they spent it. Ross Brawn, Rory Byrne, Gene Todt, the entire technical dream team was assembled with one goal: make Michael Schumacher unbeatable. And money was no object. Rubens Barrichello was contractually obligated to be the number 2 driver, not in secret, not unofficially. His contract literally stated his role was to support Schumacher's championship campaign. Austria 2002. Barrichello was leading. Ferrari ordered him to move over on the final lap and hand the win to Schumacher. The crowd booed. The FIA fined Ferrari, but Ferrari didn't care. They'd signed up for Schumacher dominance, and they were going to deliver. That's what a dynasty looks like. Total commitment to one driver, unlimited resources to support him, and regulations stable enough to build an advantage over multiple years. By 2004, the combination was so dominant that the FIA had to intervene. They changed qualifying to one-lap shootouts. They restricted tire changes. They rewrote entire sections of the technical regulations specifically to nerf Ferrari. Then, Schumacher still won the 2004 championship. That was the last time Formula One allowed that level of dominance, and they've spent the last 20 years making sure it never happens again. Enter the cost cap. Starting in 2022, every team is limited to $140 million per season. That's it. You can't outspend your rivals. You can't throw unlimited money at problems. Mercedes from 2014 to 2020 was the last dynasty. 8 consecutive Constructors' Championships. 7 drivers' titles for Hamilton. Utter domination. But it only worked because there was no cost cap. Mercedes spent an estimated $450 million per year at their peak, nearly triple what mid-tier teams could afford. They out-engineered, out-developed, and outspent everyone. Then, the cost cap hit. And suddenly, Mercedes couldn't just fix their 2022 porpoising problem by hiring 50 more engineers and running the wind tunnel 24/7. They had to work within the same budget as everyone else. Result? They dropped from 1st to 3rd, and they're still fighting to get back. Red Bull dominated 2022 and 2023, 2 years. That's it. Already there are questions about whether they can maintain it through 2026 with the regulation reset. Because here's the other thing that kills dynasty. Regulation changes every 4 years. 2022 was a complete reset. New aero regulation, ground effect cars, teams that dominated 2021, like Mercedes, fell off a cliff. Teams that struggled, like Ferrari, suddenly became competitive. 2026 is another complete reset. New engines, new aero, new chassis philosophy. Red Bull could drop from 1st to 5th overnight. Mercedes could go from 3rd to 1st. 2030 will reset again, and again in 2034. Schumacher had stable regulations from 2000 to 2004. 5 years to refine the same basic car concept. 5 years to compound advantages. 5 years to build an empire. Modern Formula One, you get 4 years maximum before everything gets thrown out and you start over. You can't build a dynasty when the entire sport resets before you finish your 3rd season of dominance. And even if you could overcome the cost cap and the regulation resets, there's one more thing that would stop you: modern team politics. Schumacher's Ferrari didn't care about optics. They openly favored him. Barrichello was hired to be second. Eddie Irvine before him was hired to be second. Nobody pretended it was equal. Modern Formula One teams won't do that anymore. The media backlash is too intense. Social media amplifies every controversy. Fans demand equality between teammates. McLaren 2024 had the fastest car. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were both championship contenders, and McLaren refused to impose team orders until it was too late. They wanted to preserve the rivalry for marketing purposes. They wanted both drivers to feel valued. Result? Norris lost the championship, but McLaren got to sell the fair team narrative. In modern Formula One, that's worth more than winning. Red Bull kept Sergio Perez for 2024, despite him being nowhere near Verstappen's pace. Why? Because replacing him mid-season would create bad headlines. Better to lose constructors' points than deal with the PR nightmare. Ferrari signed Hamilton to partner Leclerc for 2025 and 2026. 2 7-time world champions. Equal status. No number 1 driver. Because the modern Formula One team philosophy is that both drivers deserve equal treatment. That's great for fairness. Terrible for dynasties. Schumacher succeeded because Ferrari built everything around it. Modern teams won't do that. They can't afford the backlash. So here's the reality. The cost cap means you can't buy dominance. The regulation resets mean you can't sustain dominance. And modern team politics mean you can't structure a team entirely around one driver's success. All 3 pillars that supported Schumacher's dynasty are gone. Deliberately removed by Formula One to ensure closer racing and more competitive season. And it's working. The last 3 seasons have been incredible for competition. Multiple teams fighting for wins. wins. Drivers from different teams battling for championships, no one running away with it. But the cost is this. You'll never see another 5-year dynasty. You'll never see another driver so dominant that the sport has to change the rules to stop him. Verstappen won 3 straight titles, and people are already calling it boring. Schumacher won 5 straight, and people barely remember it happened because it was so long ago. The talent exists. Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Norris, any of them could be the next Schumacher in terms of raw ability. But Formula One's structure won't allow it. The cost cap will equalize the field, the regulation resets will shuffle the order, and team politics will prevent anyone from building the kind of single-driver empire Ferrari created in the early 2000s. So enjoy the close racing, celebrate the multiple team battle, appreciate the drama, because you're watching the most competitive era Formula One has ever seen. But you'll never see another Schumacher, not because the talent isn't there, but because Formula One made absolutely certain it could never happen again.